Now we come to the actual question of tell me about yourself. This is where we present an introduction and an overview of who you are and why you're a good fit for this organization. Now remember, this is only a 2 to 3 minute introduction. This is not supposed to be everything you are and all about you. The rest of the interview is going to get to some specifics with that and give you an opportunity to present that. So as we start off with this, there's a couple of components that we're going to want to include. First of all, some background. How did you get to this point? And maybe some personal information with that as well. We're going to want to talk about 2 to 3 character traits and weave those in. We're going to want to give your specific education and experience up until this point, as well as some leadership and volunteer work and how that can be incorporated into maybe the organization that you're going to be working with. So when I talk about background, what I mean is what led you to choose this career, this industry, or this major. For example, if you're into healthcare, and you can start off by saying, I've always had an interest in healthcare ever since I was 10 years old. At that point, we had a family tragedy, and I remember blah, 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 blah. And you're going to give some background on that. I remember thinking, this is fascinating. These people that care so much, and you can talk about kind of bring in why it was impressed upon you. What was it that stood out to you? That engages your interviewer and helps them to understand, oh, well, this is why they're interested in it. Not just because it's a burgeoning career field and they thought, oh, hey, I want to get involved in it, but there's a personal reason behind it. So this is a good reason to incorporate the background. It's okay to get personal here, as well as it's not something that's controversial and not anything too personal. So background information is really important. Next, the character traits. So character traits here are important because, again, they help to paint a little bit more of a detailed picture, help to give it context and color as to who you are. Now, having said that, I don't want character traits that are going to be, I'm hardworking, I'm passionate, I'm a team player. These are words that everybody says. I want you to stand out. So I want you to take some time and talk to people around you, people that you trust, people that you feel would be able to give a insight into who you are, and look at the words that they would choose. Then spend some time thinking of how you can incorporate that. Then we want to think about the specific detail of the company here. That shows that you did your research. We talked about that a little bit previously, but you're going to want to make sure that you incorporate the company, the role, and the position that's available here, because obviously your background, your education, and who you are is going to flow nicely into this position that you're seeking here. How does your previous education and your experience and your previous education and your experience lend itself to this position? And you're going to want to flow into that as well. Lastly, we have the leadership and volunteer work. This lends significant insight into the potential fit that you would have with the organization. I encourage you to share it if it's not controversial. What I mean by that is one of the interests that you have, maybe it's outside of work and with a specific political candidate, and you help to run their campaign, their re-election campaign. I don't know that I would share that because it could be perceived as being controversial. However, maybe your family does a Habitat for Humanity build every year. This would be a great thing to bring up. What it does is it gives you more of a three-dimensional view rather than a two-dimensional view for the interviewer. And the interviewer also might have a connection with that organization, or maybe it's something that they've been talking about getting involved in, and this could be a chance for you to really help flesh out that part of their culture. So the leadership and the volunteer work can be a very important component of that. Again, if you're doing your research beforehand and you find out that they actually are involved with the organization that you're involved in, make sure that you mention that because it shows you've done your research. So again, to summarize for this, you're going to want to make sure that you start off with your background. How did you get involved in this industry and in this field? What are a couple character traits that define you, that are unique to you? What is some specific detail on the company that you're aware of in doing your research? And how does your experience in your education help them meet the objective for the position they have available? And what leadership and volunteer work can you bring to the table that will lend itself to the culture and lend itself to contributing at another level within their organization?